Hello, everyone. Welcome to the After Shift Report. I'm Diane Rayner, your host, and today I have to start out apologizing. I just did my entire live and went to hit the end button, and I'm like, oh dear, I never started. I hit the button, but I guess I didn't wait long enough to see that it actually took hold. So I apologize for being late. I really was on time, but now I'm late. Okay, so today we have a topic that is I really resonate with, and it's procrastination. I hate to admit it, but I'm guilty of procrastinating. But as I always say, I'm a work in progress. So just because that's an area I struggle in, the fact that I know I struggle, I get to face it head on and try to change the neuroprogramming that's hardwired in my brain, and I get to change that trajectory of how I move forward with projects. So, it's funny, when I was preparing this conversation, a lot of times I will start with, what is the definition? And when I read it, it really kind of stepped on my toes and hurt my heart to hear the truth behind it. And procrastination it's an unnecessary and voluntary delaying of doing something that would have negative consequences if you don't follow through. And I was like, wow, that just hit home that it really is, I'm the one who's in charge of this, whether something gets done on time or doesn't get done on time. And so that was just a kind of a big, And I had such a wonderful, wonderful role model growing up. My parents were so good about following the old adage of, if there's something that can be done why put off till tomorrow what you can do today? And I wish I had that. I mean, I've been conscious of that. Wish that I had that drive to be like that. And it makes total sense, because wouldn't it be great if you have time today? You don't know what catastrophes could happen tomorrow, so why not just get it done today? But it's, again, just something you have to have grace for yourself, be aware of it, and see how you can move forward with that. And there's different reasons for why people procrastinate. It could be, or a lot of times it stems from low self-esteem or confidence in your own abilities. And so you don't want to have to face that you may not know something, or you may not be very confident in how to do the project. So you put it off so that you can avoid feeling the negativity that you feel from not knowing how to do the task. And then you've probably heard performance anxiety. And again, that kind of is rooted in the self-confidence arena as well. If you're one who has a tendency toward anxiety, and then you have a project that you need to complete, and you're not confident in that, it just kind of is like it snowballs. The anxiety starts setting in, and then the anxiety itself keeps you from moving forward, right? So that could also be part of it. Sometimes people just lack structure. And I don't want to get into the story, but I will say that is probably for me. It was bad habits from the get-go about structure. And the good news about that is I get to rewire my neural pathways on that, and it's a lot of self-talk, and just it's a process, but eventually you get to win, and your brain will rehardwire the thinking, the old thinking, into what you want the thinking to be now. So that's the good news. And sometimes people, another reason for procrastination is people may lack the self-motivation, or how to motivate themselves. And maybe they didn't have a lot of support growing up, or they have limited support now. And so it really comes down to you having to motivate yourself. And so that can be a reason as well. Now, the good thing is about procrastination is that there are lots of little tricks that you can do, little tips to help you stay in the completion process for completing your projects. One of the big things is in the beginning is just sit with what the project is, and what are the things that need to be done? And then you just write that list out. You just kind of brain dump, what are the steps that need to happen, and then organize that list. What are the priorities? What's the first things that need to be done? What's the next things that need to be done? And, when am I going to need to get, secure help for this? Or am I going to need to bring in other people to help with this particular piece of it? Whatever. Just, you want to have a plan, because it's a little hard to just say, well, I'm going to do this big project, and then it's like you just kind of jump in. But if you don't think it through, then it gets very frustrating for you, and it makes it even more likely that you will procrastinate, because it just seems too overwhelming. Whereas if you take the time to just organize it to begin with and have a plan, that really does help with the whole process. Now, other things that you can do is let other people help hold you accountable. So if it's something here in your home that you're working on, you may tell your kids or your spouse, I struggle with procrastination. Just go ahead and put it out there. But I'm trying, but twist it and do the hardwiring and say, but I am trying to overcome this, and I am going to. I want to have steps A, B, and C done today. If you would check in with me throughout the day and ask me how that's going, that will hold you accountable, right? If it's a project at work, is there a coworker that you could ask to check in with you? And can you set a reminder for yourself to see where you are in taking stock of where things are in the project and how you're doing? And this one just kind of came to light last night. I was talking with a friend, and she has, because of a stroke, she's had a little bit of memory impairment, and she asked me if I would, and she lives alone, and so she asked me if I would remind her tomorrow about something. And I said, sure, I'll be glad to do that. And she's like, I set my alarm on my phone, but I don't always hear it really well, and so then I tend to miss it. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, you know what, I could ask Alexa to remind me. And so she just, she's right there while we're on the phone. She's like, Alexa, will you remind me at 5 o'clock tomorrow? And Alexa repeated it back, and it's like, well, that was a great idea. That's another way to help hold yourself accountable. Let's use all the tools that we have at our fingertips, right? When you're starting your work, I will say morning is the best time to start. We have our most energy in the morning, and if you just do it at the beginning of the day, then you don't have to think about it all day long, right? So whether it's you've broken it down into several steps and you just want to get those steps done this morning and then do the next steps the next morning, morning time is the time to kind of tackle those things. And let's see, distractions. Oh goodness, distractions. Turn your phone off. Actually, just put it on the opposite side of wherever. Just put it away from you. Put it on the other side of the house. Put it in your drawer at work. Whatever. If you can turn the notifications off on your email if your project is involving the computer, because it's just so tempting if you already have a tendency toward procrastination and that little notification pops up. It's like, oh, what was that? Oh, maybe I need to look at that. And then there you go. You're just going down the rabbit trail, aren't you? We've all done that, I'm sure. So let's just minimize the distractions. Let's see. I've got my little list here because they were good and I didn't want to miss any of them. Rewarding yourself. If, let's say it's today, when I get done this first section that I am committed to, then I will allow myself to go to the park and walk, or I will go get an ice cream cone. I will, whatever the treat is, whatever the reward for you will be, that can feel good. And if you're trying to do this project all in one day, you may need to give yourself, again, break it down into steps, but after each section, walk away from it for a little bit. Give yourself, 10, 15 minutes just to have a break from letting your mind think about something different, okay? Let's see. Sometimes, once you get started, then the momentum catches on and you kind of have the fever and you're just really into it at that point. So let that be catapult you forward as well. I think it's also helpful to visualize the end project. Okay. So, for example, I had some girlfriends from church over Saturday night. We were just celebrating summer solstice a few days later, and I'm so excited. I love these ladies. We haven't been able to get together for quite a while, and so it all worked out that we could be here. And so, just to help me in my mindset, I just visualized what everything was going to look like, what just them getting here, and just the excitement of talking and catching up with each other. I just allowed myself to get in that energy and see the completion of what I was doing, trying to get the tablescape just so, getting this little pie made, and this and that. So anyway, sometimes just visualizing that can help drive a bit like a catalyst to help you stay in the game and keep moving. And then I think, the last thing, and we've all heard this, is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So again, just as I've been saying, break that project down into steps, and you have to put the elephant away, the big picture off to the side, and stay with the step that you're in. You can't go forward if you still need these steps done. So just stick with those, and then maybe at the end of the day, evaluate where things are if this is a multi-day project. But it's too big to look at the whole elephant. So just stay on that little bite, chew it, savor it, work it up good, and then before you know it, the project will be done. So I hope that helps a little bit, just thinking about procrastination and where you fall on the spectrum. Are you better than you were? Are you getting worse with it? What holds you back from having that? And maybe it's a project that multiple people can work on, and having somebody with you could be just good incentive to get you going as well. So anyway, I hope that helps, and comment below. Do you suffer from procrastination as well? Just yes or no. I'd love to hear. So that's all for now, and I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great rest of the week. Bye for now.